Hello and welcome back to Tique Talk, episode 5. I'm your host, Tique, bringing you another podcast, this time about something that I've been thinking about doing for a long time. I want a pet wolf. After that sets in for a few seconds, I looked into it and I was like, you know what, I think if I can get a wolf, like right when it's born, I can get the wolf and I can train it like a dog. That'll be cool. So I looked into that, and apparently that's not possible. And the reason it's not possible is because wolves are wild animals. So even if you were to get a wolf, like let's say right at the moment it was born, you snatch it from the mom, you can do that, take it home, raise it just like you would raise a dog. That is still a wild animal because the genetics are still of a wild animal. So at no point is it ever not going to feel the need to hunt or do things that wolves just do. Be part of packs, that kind of thing. And that made me think about people and how like a lot of people these days are feeling real lonely and things like that. Like we live in a time right now where we can literally pick up a phone and contact anybody in the world. We can pick up the phone, get on Instagram, and contact our favorite rappers, singers, artists, whatever. And there's, even though it's a very low chance, there's a chance they might message you back. There's a chance you might have a conversation with them. Like you can literally reach out to anybody right now. But in reality, having that phone, having that access to everything is really what's setting us farther apart from everybody. But if the aliens are looking at us through a telescope, all they see is you sitting there for hours looking at a screen, talking to the void, being around nobody. And so now, obviously, in the last couple of years, we had the pandemic strike and everything where we had to be home, we had to like be away from everybody and things like that. As a result, there was a spike in suicides in 2021 after a 3-year decline in suicides. Now, you could easily chalk it up to the pandemic, but it's more than that. I feel like we as people, we feel more lonely now because we just lack community. And I talked about this before a little bit, but I kind of wanted to expand on it because right now we can get together with every person you know, every person in your family, every one of your friends, co-workers you like, anybody. You can get everybody together on your computer on a Zoom call. You can do that. But would you rather do that? Or would you rather everybody be in one spot, hanging out like at a cookout or something like that? I mean, generally that answer is pretty easy. You'd rather be at a nice cookout hanging out with people. But why? What's the difference? The difference is when we're around people, we get those vibes. We get the energy off everybody else. We get all of that. Like it's not just sitting there and being on the phone or replying to a text where it's like you can't even read context half the time. It's like you're literally sitting there in front of somebody. You're reading body language. You're hearing the sound of their voice. All of that stuff. Everything matters when it's like you're face to face with somebody. You're not just talking to a phone. And I feel like that's where we as humans have gotten away from that so much. Because like we have all this technology, and in theory it's perfect because we already have the capacity to go out and hang out with people in our area, things like that. And now we also have a tool that allows us to go even beyond that. Like I could talk to people who are in China, people who are overseas, everywhere, people in the Philippines, things like that. And it's like you can do that, but that's not community. But we've used that to replace community in a way that never could. And I feel like that has been the issue with everything. It's like we don't have that community anymore, so our mental health and sanity have gone drastically down. So we need to be around people. We need to be around each other and feel that energy and vibes and stuff like that. Because just like those wolves who can't go from being wild to being domesticated, we as humans have always had community. Like we've been from the time we were cavemen with families to the time we were in villages and so on and so forth. You had neighborhoods, things like that. People used to go outside and do things. Before there were ever cell phones to connect everybody, there was always just us. It's being around people, being in the presence. And we lost that. We lost that to a big part. So sure, that's the problem, is that we don't have community anymore. But how do you fix that? What is the steps to make that better? And what I would say is do a little research in your area and look for social events. Things like First Friday art exhibits that go on monthly, or like open mic comedy nights. Those are pretty fun. Spoken word poetry is nice. Karaoke. Doing things like that. If you have passions, explore people in those same lanes. If you like writing, they have writer clubs. They also have paint nights if you like to do painting type of stuff. And even if you don't like to do those things, it's cool to check those out anyway. You might find something you like about it or find people who have similar interests. And that's how you create community. We're past the days where you already have the community in the tight-knit neighborhoods. Those days are just long gone. And now it's more about finding a way to create our community by ourselves. So essentially what we need to do is we need to stop being comfortable in our own bubble, because it's in your nature to branch out and explore. That's what humans have always done since the dawn of time. If we're not exploring and getting out, we're just cavemen still stuck in the cave who don't even know what fire is. And we have to evolve. We have to get better. We have to make ourselves uncomfortable in order to be comfortable. Because at the end of the day, your comfort just makes you lonely. Like, sure, it's easy to stay doing what you're doing, staying in the house, not doing anything. That's easy. But if you were to get out and go to some of these social events, be around people, be amongst people, that could be one of the things that really open you up to new experiences and things like that. So at the end of the day, what I want you to take from this is make yourself a little uncomfortable. Find a group that you can run with, because humans without community are like wolves without their pack. And no matter how much you're into your phone or social media, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, whatever that is, your true nature is still going to long for that human connection, the energy of being around people, the vibes, the fun, everything that goes along with that. Everything. So just like a wolf can't be raised to be a dog, you have to find your pack and find your community, or communities, find a couple of them, and get yourself out of that loneliness. So I'm going to get out of here, but I'll leave you with one quote that goes a little like this. Loneliness and the feeling of being unwanted is the most terrible poverty. Which means that not even money can buy you community, but it can definitely attract you some leeches. On a side note, before we get out of here, and all my vegans, go ahead and close your ears on this one, but have y'all ever had lamb? If you ever had lamb, I'll tell you what, that is something I've never had before until earlier this year. Sister made some lamb, went down to visit the family, and that tastes really damn good. I was surprised. I bring that up because I guess the thing of this whole thing is that we are in this downward spiral because we aren't doing stuff that we essentially should be doing. So if I want you to take anything else away from this, start being uncomfortable. Go out there and do stuff that you haven't done. Go out there and try some stuff. You never know. You might just like it. And at the end of the day, that's what life is. Experiences, gaining new perspectives, and hopefully coming into our best selves. So again, I'm going to get out of here. I've been Tique, and you guys have a great rest of your day. Peace.